Hello, my name's Jack. Welcome to Cine Watch Read. Today I'm reviewing this book series, Magpie Murders and Moonflower Murders, both written by Anthony Horowitz. Each book is essentially two murder mysteries for the price of one. And the first book, Magpie Murders, starts with Susan Ryland, who is an editor for a publishing company, and her main client is Alan Conway, a famous murder mystery writer, and she's reading the manuscript for his latest book, which is entitled Magpie Murders. As it's the latest in a series. It centers on a private detective called Atticus Pund, and I don't know if I'm butchering his name or not, because I don't know exactly. Yes, I don't know how exactly you pronounce the surname. If you look at how it's spelt, it's a little odd. I know that there is a TV adaptation of it, but I have not seen it yet, so I don't know how they pronounce it in the show. But at the moment, he is Pund, and I'm pretty sure I'm about to get mocked for this. But anyway, yes, the Atticus Pund is the latest of a series of detective novels set in the 1920s. They are pretty generic type of 1920s murder mysteries. And pretty much the first half of this book is Susan reading the book. And it's not till we reach about the midpoint of this book that we get to the real story. Really. So yes, the first half is essentially just the manuscript. By the time she gets to the end of the manuscript, she noticed the last chapter is missing. And so yes, we don't know exactly how the story actually concludes until we actually get into the real mystery of this book, when it is discovered that the author, Alan Conway, has died under mysterious circumstances, and Susan suspects that it is a murder, and that the clue to who the killer is hidden in that last chapter of the book. So and it's very interesting. I would say I was not really enjoying the Atticus Pund story. It just feels like a very generic sort of paint by numbers mystery. I mean, there is some originality to it, but I think it is sort of like, in a way, I feel like the author Anthony Horowitz is kind of like satirizing that type of mystery. And when you get into like the real world mystery, that's when it becomes so much more interesting. It does feel a lot more real. Therefore it's actually more satisfying than it is reading the Atticus Pund novel. When we follow Susan on her mystery tour, that's when things get so much more interesting. And there is a huge twist in this book, and I would dare not spoil this for anyone. I'm not even going to do a spoiler section, because I feel like you just need to experience this for yourself. Maybe I'll do a separate video if you demand that. But yeah, this is not like your typical. The reveal is not so much about who the killer is, so much. There are plenty of red herrings and that, but when you do find out who the killer is, you're not that surprised. But that's not the twist. The twist is why they killed this person. Yes, the motive, which was hidden in the chapter and in the book, the manuscript itself. I'd say when I was reading this in bed, and I was bursting out laughing when they finally revealed what the twist is. And it was so clever, so imaginative. This is just a work of genius. And even then, the fact that I found the Atticus Pund story kind of boring actually worked in the favour. I thought, this is just very clever writing. Anthony Horowitz does such a fantastic job at crafting just twists and turns in such a fantastic way. And like I said, I know Magpie Murders has been adapted. Now, I've not seen the TV show yet, and I'm curious to see it, but it is on a streaming service I don't use. And if it's good, I will happily subscribe just to watch it. If anyone's actually watching this And, if you're a fan of the book, let me know if it's a good adaptation, because I'm keen to see it. And then this brings us to the sequel, Moonflower Murders, which again centers on Susan. And again, it kind of does the same kind of formula, but does execute it slightly differently. In this case, she's not, obviously because the author is dead, she's not reading a manuscript. This time, someone approaches her to help solve a mystery because they heard about the events of the first book, and they ask her to help her solve this new mystery, which is the disappearance of a hotel owner's daughter, Cecily. She has read an Alan Conway novel, another Atticus Punt novel, and she says that there's a clue in that book that leads to the identity of a killer of a previous murder that happened in that hotel. But she disappeared before she could reveal who and what that reveal is. So they employ Susan to come down and start investigating, and it's not really till the halfway point that she starts reading the book. So already there's a bit of a structure, because we start off with the real world case first, and then it goes into the book, which I think is book 3 of the Atticus Punt novels, if I remember correctly. So yeah, so the formula is kind of same. It's just a little restructured a bit. And just like Magpie Murders, the real world mystery is more interesting than the Atticus Punt murder mystery. And I would say the twist is probably not as memorable as the one in Magpie Murders, because the one in Magpie Murders is just so original, so clever, so funny, that I think in a way Anthony Horowitz knew he could not top that. But he did give us an interesting twist into this as well. It's just not as memorable as that. So but it's still a worthwhile read. It's still a worthwhile sequel. I do recommend reading these two back to back, because they are a fun read. They are huge books. Look how huge they are. Yeah, the chapters are pretty short. It's only a few pages per chapter, and Horowitz's writing style is very fast paced, so you can get through a chapter in a minute. I must have got through several chapters in a night. It keeps you engaged the whole way through. So you're never bored reading this. You're just desperate to find out the next chapter. It's like binging Netflix. These are like Netflix books. Is that a brand actually? I'm calling it. I'm branding Netflix books. So yes, I do recommend these two books. They are very satisfying mysteries, and like I said, it's two for one. 2 mysteries per each book, so you get 2 for the price of 1, or 4 for the price of 2 in this instance. I don't know at this time. I don't know if he's written a third book, or if there's going to be a third book coming out. I'd be happy to read that as well. I don't know if it'll become too generic at that point, but like I said, this Moonflower Murders is not as memorable as Magpie, but I enjoy them. I'll happily read a third one if he does. I do enjoy Susan's character. She is a strong protagonist, and yeah, from what I understand, Leslie Manville is playing her in the TV adaptation, and she's a great actress. She actually does look the part. She more or less matches how I imagine Susan to look like. I don't know who the actor is who they got to play Atticus Punt. From what I heard, Timothy Spall was originally cast in the role, but he had to drop out. And I would have liked to have seen Timothy Spall play the part, but then again, I didn't really have a particular idea of what he looked like. But Susan, on the other hand, Leslie Manville does look the part, so I'm happy with her casting at least. Yeah. But, regardless whether the TV series is good or not, it is Magpie Murders, the book itself, is a very satisfying read. And like I said, I don't know how the show would even handle the twist like that, because this is a very stylish book. Like I said, I don't know how the TV show will adapt that. And especially I'm curious to know how it will handle the twist, because like I said, it's very, the way it's done, I don't know how they can do that in TV format. That's the beauty of filmmaking. But there's something that they cannot replicate, and that's the style. And you see, it's easy to distinguish. It's very easy to distinguish the book, the manuscript, and the real world parts of the book because of the format. For the real world, Horowitz uses the typical Times New Roman type font, but in the book world, he uses typewriter face. So it's very easy to distinguish which is the real world and which is the book, and even like the numbered very differently as well. So you can see so like when she starts reading the manuscript, it goes back to page 1, as opposed to because like each page is numbered, but then like there's different page numbers for each part of the book. So it's like I say, it's essentially reading 2 books. Moonflower Murders doesn't do that same type of distinction because like I said, she's not reading a manuscript this time, she's reading a published book, so both are in Times New Roman. But there are pages in this full of text messages, so that's where he does that different style change, where he uses the different fonts for like text message language and the Times New Roman types. And even then, his writing style is very different to the real world and to the Anticuspid book, because like I said, the real world does actually feel more realistic, while the book does have that generic type of 1920s generic murder mystery, which is, again, that is the point of the books. But yes, these are very satisfying. If you're a fan of murder mysteries, you have to read these because, like I said, they are very fun, they're very interesting, they're original, and they are great spins on the generic murder mystery cliches that you're sort of used to. So it has so many twists and turns, and like I said, this has got one of the best twists I've ever read. So yeah, if you're looking for a good mystery or good Sunday afternoon read these, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.